All right, Rev, you're mute, if you don't mind. All right, everybody, now we're in YouTube right now, so we are live on YouTube. Go ahead, Rev.
Yes, this evening, I'm issuing you a disclaimer on behalf of Mental Health Stars Association Incorporated in the state of Georgia. We want to issue a disclaimer that we are here as a community of caring individuals in mental health issues to raise awareness in the community so that people can get help. Individuals and families can get help in mental health. What you're going to say that we are not your doctor, we are not your psychiatrist, or your counselor, psychotherapist, or family therapist. And therefore, we do encourage you to follow through with medical requirements for your treatment, because we cannot tell you to start or stop seeing the doctor. We are working together with you, with God, and with the healthcare providers. This is Reverend Wabui Joroge. I have pleasure in being in this forum. Thank you, Mr. Kamnau, and we are ready to go. Yes, we are going to start with the overview of mental health. And as we speak, we are talking about mental health as our world in the community. Mental health affects our brain and how our brain functions. And that's why we say that mental health or good mental health is the wealth of individuals, family, community, and indeed the nation. And that's why it's so important. We also want to remove stigma from mental health so that people can receive treatment. That's what we are called mental health stars for a reason, because this S stands for start talking about mental health, about the elephant in your closet, or issues that were secrets in your home that could be detrimental from your welfare, or also can also hinder your growth and your success in life. You talk about them and we deal with them. We are coming from a community whereby people have a lot of secrets, family secrets, and Reverend Rabu and the company here, we are going to bust myths. We are going to interrupt patterns of behavior by communicating and by saying, hey, this is giving me an issue. I can give you just a very quick example in this state, in the United States, and this is it, what I have learned. I also want to issue a personal disclaimer. Please relax. I speak a lot about these issues, but by the grace of God, or maybe because I've been here for so long, I have not had the opportunity of working in a structured environment with my brothers and my sisters from Kenya, meaning even though I have worked in the school system from birth to high school and college, and I have also gone through college through this country, and I have worked in the outpatient clinic, I have not had the blessing of working with anyone from Kenya or even East Africa, maybe because of where the Lord has positioned me. But for this matter, this is not about Kenya. It's not about the United States. It's not about Africa. It's about us as people. So please relax and know that myself, my specialty is family, especially family that have children and adolescents that are in the school system and in the community. That is my specialty. Many times you have seen me posting in social media. I have a caveat to say that half the time I don't read because I have read so much that it is just repeating sometimes. But I do read to keep abreast with the issues that are happening. For example, I can tell you now, the biggest breakthrough that we are working with in mental health these days, it is the brain function. Because as we say, biology was not my major, but I did get A's in biology all through. And what it is that I just remember something very good is this. When we are in our mother's womb, we are made, we got from brain first. We are formed brain first. And everything is just as we are, from brain all the way to your breathing system, all the way. And actually, the last thing you can tell when a child is in their mother's womb is the sex of the person. But think about it like this. This is what the world has done. It has taken a human being and turned them upside down. So that what people value and see most and talk about most and get in trouble with is the reproductive system. Just like it was here in our government and campaigns. I wish we could address the issues from head first. And I am going to be careful not to preach, because if I was to preach about head first, then I would also still say the Lordship of Christ, like the Jewish, they put that little thing they put on their head there. Do you know it means that God, Jehovah, is Lord. He's on top of everything, above everything else when it comes to a human being. And of course, the head is where we have the eyes for vision, the ears to hear, this mouth to speak, and this neck to hold us up. So I could still also preach and minister about the importance of using our brain function. So at this time, medical science and mental health is really, really focused on the science of the mind. And so I want to encourage each individual, and as we talk, I love you people, because we are so endowed with great things and greatness, because we are so educated, we are so schooled in diaspora. I brag about immigrants in diaspora. I am the one who has, if I don't remember anybody else, but maybe I'm the one who started calling people diaspora fraternity. We are so rich, and I say that we are the best out of our country because we represent Africa. When you look at me, I have been branded as an African and Black. And this is what I'm going to share with you about. I'll keep sharing about mental health and the importance of, if you have any questions concerning children and teenagers, Kenyans like to call teenagers youth. And remember that teenagehood ends at 19. And 18-year-olds in the United States of America, they are adults who may have a job, graduated from high school, a job, have a car, have money, and all you can do with teenagers in your home and young adults is provide supervision of who, where, what, when, how, and why. And the young children is the same, except for the young children is 24, we call it 24-hour coverage. That is so critical that in the state of Tennessee, if you leave a young minor child who is not 12 years old alone for 20 minutes, you are in violation of the law. I think also Texas, some states are harder. So please know what is in your state, because you can leave a child for a long time, like we had a case in Georgia, a 9-year-old was walking in their neighborhood alone. And worse still, if it is during school hours, the sheriff in my county has permission and has the legal rights to pick up your child and hold them. Then look, we can come look for you. People can come look for you in the past life. I've been the person who has made a home visit to tell the parent that, do you remember when we talked about taking care of the children? Yeah. Where is your 9-year-old child tonight? Where is your youth tonight? Where is your husband tonight? Where is your wife tonight, even though they are adults? So let us agree as we go forward about who, where, what, when. In diaspora, among diaspora fraternity, is very frustrating in the state of Georgia that we are looking for adults who are not sick, 34, 35, and they have gone missing because they didn't talk to anybody. Where were you going? Who were you meeting? Meeting people online. Who were you with? When were we expecting to meet you? And you know, when people go missing, they knock on your door. Or if they are found in the wrong place, you hear a knock like this. You will know it's not your friend. This is how the police know, because they have taught me. You feel like they're going to come in your house by force. That's what I have to share with you now. We are going to invite our legal ends, if they're on this platform. If not, we are going to go on with the program. Mr. Kevin, it's good to see you. I don't want to call out names, but I appreciate Margaret. I appreciate Sarah. Appreciate Anthony. Reverend Anthony, now come now. And the reason is we started together. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Mr. Kamnau and Reverend Wambui. We started together in 2018. And how we started is because we were having a lot of suicides among 18 to 40-year-olds. And then can someone ask me why? Why is it? And especially young men and young women. And another caveat, they were successful. They were not stuck. They had jobs, they have education, and many of them, they had parents in the United States. Let's go on with Kevin. Is going to introduce the beginning. Is it who is going? This is how we began, as you can see. (2023), and I think this is last year. Wow, that's a long time ago, 2020. Wow. 2022. Here we are again, 2023. This is the current Mental Health Staff Board. As you can see, we have Bishop Pinimu there, and you can read, he has PhD in Biblical Studies. He's a Christian counselor and has authored more than one book. That's Reverend Wabui Joroge have already said. This is Kevin Goge. He's a nursing practitioner. This young doctor can actually prescribe medication for you. And when you go to the hospital, you can choose whether you see a nursing practitioner or a doctor. I love nursing practitioners. They spend a little bit time with you. Then we have Dr. Nancy Wamba. She's from California. She's a psychologist. And we have Reverend Anthony Kamnau. He's so nice. You know, he doesn't put all these titles. Bless him. Here he is. You can see him. And he's the founder and chairman of Kemen and Double Impact from Missouri. And we have had Lucy Simio. She's not with us at this current moment, but she has made a huge contribution. Everyone you see here, some we started with and they're not with us. Everyone leaves an impact in what they do and how they do it. Let's keep going. And we are registered in the state of Georgia as an association for mental health. Thank you. Is that good? Let's check if the presenter for culture is in the house. And we might want to make sure our presenter, Dr. Pacifica, is here. I can't tell. Can you play a song, Mr. Cam, now while we check?
Living Goddess. Okay, I can play a song. Let's see.
Okay, before you play a song, the individuals on this flyer, we are going to have their presentations this weekend, as you can see, as their names are. And then this is for tonight. Christine is for tonight, and Dr. Pacifica, and we have Benson as a lawyer, but I don't know if he's here because I have only met him once. So I can't tell. Even if he's on this monitor or Zoom, I will not be able to tell this is the person. Thank you. I'll check with Kevin. Let's go on, Mr. Cam now.
All right, let's see.
No, you have to do. I'm next comment. I was sharing with patient. I follow from her.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
Very faint.
Kevin, can you play a song on your end? I think we can be able to hear it. Thank you. All right, I think we can be able to hear it louder. I don't know if Kevin has a song. Otherwise, we can continue. You're muted. You're on mute.
Tonight, because we see your goodness. I love you, Lord, for your mercy never failed me. All my days have been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice, for you made me through the fire. In the darkest night. You are close like no other. I know you as a father, I know you as a friend. I have lived in the goodness of God. Hey! All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. Hey! With every breath that I am made, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life, all my life, oh goodness is running out, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. And I surrender all, I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after. Your goodness is running after. With my life laid out, I surrender. I give you everything. Yeah. Your goodness is running after. After me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Hey! I will sing of your goodness all my life. I'm getting nothing to chance. You have been so good, yeah. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God, yeah. Sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of your goodness. I will sing of your goodness.
All right, Reverend, that's a good song.
Yeah. And Dr. Pacifica, I think she's gonna join us later. In the meantime, we are going to be the legal ends. And I have a disclaimer again, I'm not a lawyer, but I have worked with individuals who are in trouble. So I'm gonna give you a scenario, real life situation that I have worked with or rather helped somebody negotiate. And what is that? We're gonna wait and see until Dr. Pacifica is able to join the Zoom. And in the meantime, let me just share with you this legal end of what I have learned. And the individual had a traffic stop because they were speeding. I hope you're like me. It took me a long time in America to learn not to speed. Now I even drive with cruise in the city for 35 because I do things fast. I run fast. I talk fast. I was just born like that. Okay, I praise the Lord for the gifting of being able to work in advance, do many things. And I have a lot of energy by the grace of God. So I was always driving. I got so many tickets until I begged by the time I was a senior not to have one, but still this guy gave me a ticket. And I almost cried for the first time because the ticket cost me $104. And I was looking, I don't buy that expensive shoes for $104. Anyway, he said, and I begged with him, he said, he was so arrogant. And it's at night, so I forgot. And it's at night. And I said, please, he said, tell it to the judge. So he gave me a citation and a date if I am arguing with him, because actually, to be honest with you, I was on cruise still, so I knew. And he will argue with me like, do you know whether your cruise is working well? And it is working well. I even argue that I'm a commercial driver. I have a CDL. I do not drive a car for a long distance without pre-trip check. I take everything. I'm almost close to being an auto vehicle mechanic. And I have two brothers who were auto vehicle mechanics in Kenya. But myself, I learned how to drive a school bus. They have made me even crawl under the bus. I can identify what is hydro arm, pit arm, all these parts of a school bus, just so the children can be safe when the little boy drives. Because I've done many things in this country. I'm the first hustler, don't forget. No, just as much as I am a diaspora fraternity. So this brother is given a speeding ticket. It's only for like $45 worth, but he doesn't pay it. And he doesn't go to court to contest. What do you think happens? I just want to hear from the group. Our doctor is arriving, and I see that she's here. She's going to do her presentation. I want somebody to say what happens when you do that. These are legal elements.
Every time you don't pay your ticket, there's always warrant of arrest for you. You miss a court date, you don't report, warrant of arrest is issued.
So what happens to that warrant of arrest?
Is effective immediately. Anytime you're stopped, you go to jail immediately.
Supposing I am stopped in Florida, these days we are digital citizens, everything is linked. If you type your name, an officer in Florida can actually access your information in Georgia. So what happens to you if you're arrested in Florida and you live in Georgia?
I think it's a universal. So wherever they stop you is where they put you to jail, and then they report to Georgia to say, hey, they have you come now arrested in Florida. That's what I'm thinking.
So what happens to your family now?
Now you're under the mercy of the authority. They may decide to give you a phone to call them or not. They can decide to say, hey, next day, and your family will be in panic because they don't know where you are.
And because we are digital citizens, would you please memorize the first person you will call. Try even to memorize the second person you call. And please try to memorize the third person you will call. And that's why it's important for us to know who. Where did you go? Maybe, like I live very close to Florida. I can actually be in by the Florida border in exactly 1 hour. And I want to take people there and show them so they take a picture saying, welcome to Florida, the Sunshine State. So it's so close. But if I cross the border in 1 hour, but nobody knows,
in trouble.
And you're calling from jail, and I hear that you're calling from jail. I don't know who you are. They are strange numbers. These days, like today and yesterday and today and the other day, I have been receiving Safaricom numbers. And this is another thing we're going to say as digital citizens. Let's put some legal lens. What is happening with Safaricom making a personal call with your WhatsApp with a number called +234? So when you get arrested in another state, maybe you can petition to be sent to your county, and it's very expensive. So my county may decide, no, we are not going to do that. So your family is going to pay a high cost for you to be bailed out of Florida and maybe return to pay your violation. And sometimes if you have money, you might be able to bail yourself. And many times they don't want you to bail yourself because they say you are a flight risk. You're a flight risk for yourself. You have the money, you have the car, and your car will be impounded. I'm telling you, let me say this. The $45 ticket may end up costing you $1,000 in another state, and actually almost $2,500, because when you go back to your state, you are going to take classes, defensive classes. They are going to force you. This is how the government makes money. It's a violation of $45. Nobody needs to be paying $1,500. You may be supervised for 2 or 3 months. You're an adult. You're driving. You're working. In the meantime, please, if you are in the state of Georgia, they will put your name in the newspaper of my state and my county with full names and your birthday. And tell me, where is your employer at this time? And the people, I have been asked questions like, one time I was given a ticket I'm just giving you about my own story. I was given a ticket in my county, but I was new here. I did not know that they write you in the newspaper. So I went to work at school, and they asked me wickedly, the school resource officer, remember, is a real police posting like a friend in the school, but that is his work. He's trained by the police department. And he said, how many Joroges are in your county? And I said 2. One of them is in trouble. And I said, just automatically, because, I have this good self-esteem, I say, I'm sure it's not me. And I checked with my husband, it's not him. And he did this. And he had eyes like this, he was like, that's how we talk here in the What is your government name? I am thinking I have a government name now. I did not think my baptismal name is a government name. I said, what do you mean? Because I used the name Wamboi. He knows me as Wamboi. He says, if there's only 2 Joroges in your county, he's from another county, how come there is this other lady who did this? And then I said, what do you mean? It's in the newspaper. The first thing I did when I got back home in my county, I bought the newspaper. And sure enough, my name and everything about me was there. The next day, I called myself a good counselor. And the whole school said, she ain't as good as she looks. She ain't good, because they put it in the crime section. Violation. Ticket. Just stop. And I didn't even go to court. I paid it. But I learned my lesson. I want to be in that newspaper for good behavior. So I paid the ticket. So luckily I was not arrested. No warrant for my arrest. But I tell you this, when they checked me, I have been asked in another incident. And who are all these people in your house? I say, what people? This is what the legal ends. If you have ever used any government service, health department, school, post office, hospital, think about all the government offices you have ever been. Now, think about anybody in your family that has ever visited you. Let me just tell you, I have been in this country for 40 years. I have a list like this from here to my seat of everybody who ever gave their information in Nairobi to the embassy. I didn't think that the government can work like that, but now they do. So I'm asked, who are all these people? I only was saved by the grace of God. I said, I work with the public, and they knew that I do work in mental health because I have also worked in the outpatient clinic. That is the only thing that saved me. And I also preach on the streets anywhere. And I said, listen, I work with the public. If someone is in trouble, they can call me. I put myself and I said, they can call me. That also goes for anyone that I have ever seen and visited the jail. And I'm going to say in Washington State, I have been there, California, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, and Alabama. And then now, with the legal lens, I have been everywhere. And that's why, in the end, I'm going to say this. As a mental health counselor, I have also gone to court with people in issues. But thank God, I have always been there to speak positively about a person so that their well-being is protected. So for that reason, I am not afraid of anything or anybody, but I am afraid of God, and I value people greatly. And that's why we are here. It's like I have given you at my testimony that when Mr. Kamnau called, and no, he didn't call. He put it in a WhatsApp forum. Can we do something to help our young men and women? They are committing suicide. They are in depression. And now I tell you, from 18 to 40 years old, the reason the number is so high, because those are crucial years. Young men have a lot of pressure in life to succeed in society. Those who have come to America, the pressure is double. And this is the time, the 18 to 40 some years. This is a decision-making time. Think about driving. Since I have told you I'm a CDL driver. Think about when you're at a crossroads. You have to stop and don't drink your Coke when you have a crossroad. 4-way. Stop still until the traffic light gives you way to clear. Because if you're doing other things in the middle, it is many accidents happen at a crossroad where people have to make a decision. Do I go right? Or do I go left? Or I go straight? So my dear friends, this happens in real life. When you're 18 and 40, what are you negotiating? It's your identity. Who are you? And that's why we need the person with the culture. Tomorrow you have it again. Don't worry. Your identity. Who are you? Whose are you? And why are you here? The purpose for life. Will I get married or not? Will I have children and how many? Will I have a job or not? Will I go to college or train for a career? And finally, where am I going to live? What am I going to do? These are issues many of you have settled, but we have a lot of people in diaspora that are lost. And we need to find a way to remove stigma from mental health so that people can help and ask those important questions. Don't allow anyone to be alone. Now that we have come to this crucial hour, we have our doctor in the house. You cannot clap your hands, but you can use the reaction button here to say thank you. Our doctor is in the house. And at this time, Mr. Kam now take away the microphone, and then we are going to invite Dr. Pacifica Nyang'ao, if she is able to open her video. And somebody has raised their hand. Mr. Karu has raised his hand. Shall we?
Learn how to recreate certain organs, certain limbs.
Right, doctor. Otherwise, if not, I want to appreciate you so very much, Rev, for opening up and talking about the situation, the testimony. We have to be aware. And many years ago, one of my friends was being looked after, and he was in New York. So I was like, they were looking for him here, but he was in New York. And I had to call him to come back quickly, because if you don't tell your friend to come back, in Midwest, we're gonna send someone over there to get hold of him, and in the process, he had to get the next flight because if they could have taken him there, can you imagine you being taken to Manhattan or whatever? It's just good to be aware, good to be careful. If you have a ticket, you pay on time. Sometimes you get caught up, you get so busy, and you can easily get a ticket because sometimes you're in a rush to go to work. Sometimes you just go over a little bit. Just be careful out there. So it's good to be careful. So thank you very much. Right now, I'll take back to you. Thank you, Rev, for your leadership. It's been 6 years, unbelievable. We're going to 7 years next year. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for supporting MHSAI. Our leadership under Reverend Waboy has been on point. So I'm going to go ahead and invite you to invite the doctor. Thank you so very much.
It is my distinct pleasure to invite our Dr. Pacifica Mora Nyangao. She has been with us before. She'll talk about psychotropic medication or those medications that have potential to change how our brain is working. And she is better at this subject than anybody else I have known for the last 6 years. So it's a great honor to invite her to share with us. And there is it is so important that when you are taking medication for treatment, that you follow through with your doctor's requirements, and also something we developed that you respond quickly if you have negative side effects. Don't become your own doctor, and don't allow other people to be a doctor when they are not. I have a good friend. She's always good to prescribing people supplements that are more expensive than the medicine. But when this person she was prescribing supplements died, I've never heard or seen this person. I know both, the one that deceased and the supplement, the one who was supplying supplements. So for this reason, let us walk a thin line. I am saying that I am not a doctor myself. That's why we have a greater one in the house. Welcome, woman of God. Yes, she's a very
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize because I know we booked this like over a month ago, but yesterday something came up, so my kids will be going to church to practice in a few minutes. So what I will do is I will do a quick presentation, and I'll get in the car so I can drive them to church, and I'll be on the phone for any questions. We will be talking about psychotropic medications. And psychotropic medications are wide, it's not like one class of medication. It's different classes of medication that help to treat depression, medication that help to treat anxiety, medication for mood disorders, like bipolar, schizophrenia. So for these presentations, we will talk about antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, sedatives. Those are medications that are used for sleep, and stimulants. Those medications that are used to help people to focus and concentrate. For antidepressants, we have medications that are categorized under the class of selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And these are medications that are used to improve the level of the serotonin in the brain so they can help with depression symptoms and anxiety symptoms, so to help to alleviate those symptoms. They include medication like Prozac, Cymbalta, sertraline, Lexapro, Celexa. We have other classes of medication, class like tricyclic antidepressants. These ones, they boost the serotonin and norepinephrine neurotransmitters to help with depression. We have a medication like Elavil, Pamela. We have other classes of medication like venlafaxine, Cymbalta, and Remeron, which falls under the class of serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. All antidepressants, of course, they come with their own side effects. Each medication has its own side effect, but patients also experience side effects differently. Like one person can experience one side effect and the other person will not experience the same side effects because we are all wired to metabolize medication differently. So some side effects include dizziness, stomach issues like diarrhea, abdominal pain, increased heart rate, weight changes, seizure, drowsiness, or even GI bleeding. And some can, especially like the population of 20 and below or above, like 80 or 70 can increase suicidal thoughts. So those are the things we encourage or educate anybody who starts on a medication to watch for. We have medications for anxiety, and most of them, they fall under the class we call benzodiazepines. These are medications like Xanax, Ativan, clonazepam, or Valium. We have medications also like buspirone that helps with anxiety also. Now, this class of medication like benzodiazepines, they're not really approved for long-term use, but people do use them. And the reason why they're not approved for long-term use is because of addiction or dependency, which by the end of the day, it's like creating more problem. They can also cause dizziness, they're sedating, dry mouth, as I said, addiction and dependency also. We have medications that also are used for depression or mood stabilization, or and they fall under the class of antipsychotics. Sometimes when you say antipsychotic, is people feel like, oh, wow, am I crazy? Am I psychotic? Am I what? But that is the class those medications fall into. And they include like Haldol, Risperidone, Abilify, Chiodon, Olanzapine. We have newer medications like Rexulti, Brira, Latuda, and even though, yes, they fall under the class of antipsychotics, they also can help with depression. They come with side effects, especially metabolic side effects like gaining weight or changing blood sugar levels in the system. And that's one of the problem because they can increase weight, which can put patients more with depression. More side effects include dizziness or stomach upset, prior vision, dry mouth, or seizure. There's also other side effects like tardive dyskinesia. That's like having involuntary movement with like long-term use of the medication. So patients have to watch that kind of a side effect. Next class of medication we'll talk about is we have talked about antipsychotics. So we'll talk about mood stabilizers. These are medications that mostly used for mood disorders like bipolar or even schizophrenia. And also they fall under the class of like anti-seizure medication. So when patients get them, they'll be like, oh, those medications are used for seizures. But they, yes, they're used for seizure, but they are also commonly prescribed for mood stabilization. Medications like Depakote, lithium, Tegretol, lamotrigine. Most of them, they are well tolerated, except, like lithium. It has like what we call a narrow therapeutic window. So if a patient starts it on lithium, they have to be really, really well monitored on their blood levels. Depakote is a good medication, but we also have to watch the liver function and educate patients, like if you're on these medications, you can be like drinking alcohol. And also because they have side effect to unborn babies, especially during the first trimester. So if it's a female patient, they will be educated on if they want to become pregnant or they find out they're pregnant, they have to let the providers know right away. Sleeping medications. We have medication like Ambien, Lunesta, temazepam. We have other medications like antidepressants like Remeron or Methazapine or Trazodone that also are used for sleep issues, because most of the time if patients are depressed or they have anxiety or mood issues, sleep issues comes along with them, with those diagnoses. So managing depression is very important, because then sleep might improve, or managing sleep issues can help with this depression or anxiety symptoms. We will talk about patients who have issues with focusing and concentration. We have classes of medication that is stimulants. We also have non-stimulants, but for today we will talk about stimulants. These are medications like Adderall, Ritalin, Vyvanse, Focalin, but they are controlled medications because many times there's addiction that comes with it or abuse. But common side effects will include like trouble sleeping, dry mouth, increased blood pressure, headache, withdrawal, especially if stopping abruptly, or loss of appetite. And that's why a lot of people, they will say they have difficult focusing or concentrating just because they have heard that this medication can help to decrease appetite in turn if they want to lose weight, but that's debatable too. Well, there are newer other medications, out there, but for this presentation, that's all I have for today. And I'll leave the rest of the time for any questions, if anybody has questions or concerns or comments. And as I said, I'll be getting in the car, but I'll be listening. Thank you.
Wow. One quick question, Doctor.
To have one.
Written on the chat. Discuss why, or let us, we can be here, why some psych medication seem to trigger suicide, especially for young people. And also the names. The names, I wish I wish they are simpler names. But anyway, okay. That's all right. But this is something that I have observed myself.
Yeah, another question maybe she can answer. So, my question I had for her. So, she's talking about weight. So, when you're going through the medication, do you have to have another? Do you have to have a trainer? Do you have to have another doctor, or do you have to have another somebody else to help you with the weight loss? I think you understand my question because okay, I'm gonna add weight because of this medication. Then should I start having to go to the gym? Should I have a trainer? How do you deal with that? So that's another question I had.
Yeah, so if I can start with your question, if for instance, my side, I will educate patients on what to do to help. You know, yes, the medication is going to cause weight gain, but what are the things to do to prevent gaining weight before, you know, it even gets to, or maybe we need to refer you to another provider to treat this. But if, I would tell patients, you know, once you start this medication, make an effort to exercise, make an effort to watch your diet, make an effort to do portion control. Because if you make an effort to prevent gaining weight, then we will not worry about it. But most of the time is okay. Then we need to find to change the medication to see if we can find the least medication that is working with less side effects. Because it's like I don't want to create a problem. To send
Are we going to go to quiet?
yes, in a second. To send to another provider, you know, to manage it.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it causes a lot of weight gain, then it's time to switch to a different, you know, medication.
Do you want to answer Rev question? Could I have two more? Others we can give you time to settle. Do you want us to continue asking those questions?
Yeah, so I can answer her question quick. So I'm not exactly sure why, but you know, studies show that there's a population like 20 and below and 75 and above, they have an increased risk for the medication for SSRIs to cause suicidal thoughts.
Okay. So real quick, I know Rev, we are supposed to do a question at the end. Real quick, debatable, can lose weight. Do you want to elaborate? And then my other question, if I take sleeping medication, can I stop? And is there a process to stop? And that's my last question. Thank you.
I'm sorry, ask that again.
I'm asking if I start taking sleeping pill, and is there a process to stop it, or should I continue taking it? When I start, can I stop? And then when you meant about some of them are used for weight loss, and you said debatable, can I use it for weight loss? That's it.
So if you start a medication, yes, you can stop it. But there are some medications you can't just stop abruptly because you can have a withdrawal effect. So what you do is weaning off, like cutting the dose, with the direction of a prescriber. The medications that I use for, so what I was trying to put across is the side effects for the stimulants include weight loss, addiction,
Okay.
Now, and that's why I said they can be used for weight loss, but prescribed by people, providers who are managing weight management.
Okay.
But in the, sometimes a patient will say, oh, we'll go Google, oh, this medication can help to lose weight. So I am going to say I have issues with focus and concentration, or ADHD rather, so I can get this medication for this other purpose. It's not like it's a real ADHD. So that's where assessment, really good assessment comes in, so that we do prescribe medication for the purpose it is meant for.
All right. So there's one more question. Is there any, by Mr. Kibiru, an alternative for natural medication? Do we have such?
There are alternatives, there are supplements that are out there, but I won't discuss those because they are not probably like FDA approved.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, Rev, go ahead, Reverend Mamboy.
Okay, we're gonna find out if Mr. Kevin, you'll be able to talk about teens. In the meantime, to supplement what the doctor has said, in the clinic, I was known for referring anyone who has introduced new medication to a nutritionist. And sometimes you have to ask because the insurance company may not want to pay for you. So anyone who was on my caseload, I almost without exception, I referred them to a nutritionist because there are sometimes you need help to plan your meals and all this. And another thing is exercise. I'm not a very good example right now, but walking is an exercise that anyone does not have to pay other than use their legs. But with that, you need what we call love, family support that understands what your needs are. You may also have friends in the community, especially community of faith, like church buddies. Find if you can find somebody who can encourage you. Now we also have apps. Sorry, if people don't respond to us, we are going to go to AI, artificial intelligence, on your watches and your computer. You have apps that can actually talk to you. Mine talks to me, even can pronounce my name better than any other person. But finally, trying to help people, I can't tell you, but this is my favorite book. It says, Prescription for Nutritional Healing. This is a Node edition, is a practical A to Z reference to drug-free remedies using vitamins, minerals, herbs, and food supplements. I also used to prescribe this book, but I'm not a doctor. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Kevin at this time.
I think, Kevin, somebody had a question. I don't know if that was you. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, yes, I did have a question for Dr. Pacifica. Can y'all hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Sorry. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity. To Dr. Pacifica, there's something that we are seeing on my end, and this is younger and younger people coming in and highly asking about trying to use marijuana prescriptions just to get medication for anti-anxiety. Is that something that we should start off right away with, or should we start with something else before we get to that one?
I would say in my state of Texas, marijuana is not legal, at least as far as I know. So I will not really talk about marijuana.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's state to state. I appreciate your information. Really, really, really informative. Thank you much. Just want to share a couple of things here on my side as we come up with the questions and
But
really, really learning. Go ahead.
yeah, just a second. But I know, from experience, I have had patients who have come in, and even those who have been prescribed, medical marijuana, even for pain, they say it doesn't help as much. But again, as I said, it's not my area of specialty. It's not something I'm looking into prescribing. I can refer out. So I'm not going to discuss much about it.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's a hot topic for some of the younger generation, and we have more and more, especially with the Google doctor. It's a big. Sometimes it takes a lot of education, but I appreciate your insight on that. Thank you much. I'll just add a couple touch points, and it's just a good thing to be on a call and talk about those tough situations that we see in our day to day, not only in our families, but in our homes, in our communities. And that's why we jump on this call and this meeting and conference, just to share those. Dinner, kitchen table talks. Uh, they are uncomfortable, but we bring them in and we try to break it down, make it simple, get resources, get support. What if it happens? Where do I go? How do I navigate about this if this comes my way? And over the years, we just continue to build up, bring different presenters, and kind of empower our community. Well, most of us, we're new here. We stay longer, and we need to catch up with what's happening, not only as a change, but to adapt. And, we're getting kids here, and we have to train them and teach them and coach them and prepare, and these are just when the shoe pinches on one side, as a community, someone else feels it. And when we sit down in this conference and these sessions, we get to share. We get to share. Amazing. I'll share a little bit about something that I'm passionate about, and it's about teen and mental health issues. So, teenagers, they are getting more and more. We keep coming here, we're getting kids, and they're growing, and it's getting to time we have to prepare them to not only exit but be that adult, pick up responsibility, mature, and just go on and thrive and grow and succeed in life. But with that comes a few challenges. Not that we are failing, but these are just due to not only culture but our traditions, our background. There has been a few things that over the years, even meeting and sometimes just sitting down and talking with them, I'm very privileged to have had sessions where working in a platform or a clinic where you have our culture, African culture, and then we have the children that are born here, and you can see the gap. I was able to read an article and just trying to find out how can we bridge this gap where there's a social or emotional gap between what the parent thinks they're saying and is being done, and they believe in all sincerity, I'm doing the best because of what I know, my background, and here comes the child that's growing, and they say, no, I feel there's a gap of emotional and social support. And the parent has no idea. We think we're doing it right. We think we are learning and implementing the right way and even doing from what we saw our prior generation of parents do, but we still miss it. And it's not intentional. There's a study they did, and the parents and same parents of the same children for a group of people was done, and it's here in the United States. And when they asked the questions about emotional support, there was a huge gap. There was a huge gap. Parents said that they believe they're providing social support to their teenagers, but on the same platform,
We can't hear you, Kevin. All right, Kevin, we can't hear you.
He needs to unmute.
Let me send him a message.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, everybody. Ali's acting out here. It's not helping. Yeah. Mm. Okay, we need to.
There you go, Kevin. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Do you need a commercial break while you get
Yeah.
Kathy?
Yeah, and everybody can think about questions for our doctor and anyone else for Rev as we wait for Kevin. Once again, thank you everybody for being here. We are almost done. But we have Kevin who's
We
gonna
are
join
here
us.
to remind you that health is wealth.
Here's your
What
commercial.
do we mean by health is wealth? It means being healthy is more important than being rich. When was the last time you checked your blood pressure? When was the last time you checked your blood sugar? When was the last time you went out for a walk or a jog? Ladies, when was the last time you had a smear test? Do you even know your cholesterol level? Please take your health check seriously because health is wealth. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. We love you all.
To Kevin.
Yeah, Mr. Kevin is coming back. He left, he's coming back.
Okay.
So, yep, he has to come back. So,
Mr. Now, this question about are there natural alternatives to most medicines? You have to decide, especially when you have a chronic illness, when it is that you can use alternatives, because you might run into trouble with your doctor or your treatment, because when we use modern medicine, there comes a liability with the use and the prescription. So if you're just going to do alternatives and you're hiding from your doctor, the doctor always says, when you come for the next visit, bring all your medication with you. And the doctor already said that some of the supplements, they are not FDA approved. What is FDA? Those of us who know that our drugs, our food has to be approved. It is mostly for liability, because if you take medication and you have negative side effects, and then you go and tell the doctor, I'm feeling like this, I'm doing like this, how is it to ascertain that the medication that he gave you or she gave you is working, is giving you positive results or negative results? And the thing is, sometimes when you begin to take medication, it works. Maybe the first 21 days and another 21 days. Then, and you introduce other things and you get negative side effects. So you have a medication and you have you have medication and you have supplements. So when you are sick, what is making you sick? That is why it is important, and we highlight that it is so important to follow through with medical requirements. Decide what you want. If you do not want treatment, or the treatment that you are on has failed, and you decide to seek alternative medications, I don't know about you, but these days it's becoming increasingly harder. When the ambulance is called to your house or wherever you are, and they want to check your vital symptoms. And then if you have, and I'm stressing if you have a chronic illness. Okay, I'll give you an example. Maybe you have diabetes. Maybe you have asthma. Maybe you have cancer, especially individuals that are suffering from chronic illnesses like cancer. It's really hard because you are looking for something that can give you, that can bring about your healing. And there's so many messages on Google. Listen, Google is not your doctor. Google makes suggestions. And I can say that because I was born before Google. Google was born in 1994. Oh, but it has a lot of information. The thing is to sift that information so that it's relevant to you. Number two, our friends. My goodness. Sometimes I have asked, people say, drink this, eat this, like COVID-19. People were prescribing ginger and all the spices from India. Then India was hit so hard with COVID-19, and I was like, oh, the thing is, when somebody tells me to take all these things, I ask them, do you have my diagnosis? And I have seen, this is, do you have the same diagnosis? Are you a doctor? The other thing we highlight is prayer. Prayer, Jesus came to heal. Amen, glory, hallelujah. Yes, he did. But look at it in the Bible. Everyone who came to see Jesus, how come they knew their diagnosis? Who diagnosed them? Some even said, I have used my money with physicians. So what is your sickness? So you're taking supplements for what? And it's okay to take supplements, but consult with your therapist. This is mental health. We consult with your therapist. It's like your nurse, your counselor, and also consult with your doctor. And I don't know how to highlight that. Monitor negative side effects more than anything. Don't give yourself a break. Then follow through with being like your blood work. If you're an adult and you need blood work annually, make sure it's done and share the results with your doctor. And if you have young children, like I have worked with young children that up to 12 years and actually all the way to high school, they may have annual checks. I mean, their blood work could be more than once a year, at least twice. Why? Because they are young and they are developing and they are growing so fast that sometimes you can give them medication that is not going to work. They are growing so fast. It is so important, especially for young children. I'm going to say this. Children with issues that they have to take medication. Do you know some of the issues we have as adults were set in motion when we were young or even when we were in our mother's womb? For example, schizophrenia, that is not curable, but it can be managed. It starts to show during adolescent years when children are going through the greatest development of their body, mind, soul, and spirit. So be very careful. So combine everything. That's why we say it's holistic. It's good to pray. Prayer is effective. People who pray tend to handle issues better. The doctors can tell you that they even heal quickly. I think it is that support also. But although I'm an ordained minister, I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. So even when I pray for you, if you say, like, for example, you say, I feel suicidal, I will say, hey, let's go to the doctor. I will come with you. And on the way there, we are going to be praying. And when you are waiting at the reception, we are going to be praying. So let's put everything accurately. There is time for everything under heaven. There is time to pray. We cannot, this group of mental health, we are spiritually based. We say that in Proverbs 11 and verse 14. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So there can be a legal counselor, the one we talked about, the legal lens. The counselor who is in the clinic, Dr. Pacifica has a clinic. She practices. She has her own clinic and her staff. She is a nursing practitioner. And then there is the pastor. And you know what? It's only in the South that I went to judge's chamber and I found a family and the judge and the prosecutor and the police and the school representative. That was me, the counselor. And guess who came with the family? Oh, I loved this. I will never forget their pastor. They brought their pastor to the judge's chamber. And why am I talking like this? Because your issues in court are decided in the judge's chamber. Everybody there was asked, what shall we do with so and so? And then myself, I say, they need behavior therapy. The pastor said, I will be praying with the family. I'll be checking. And the mother said, I will do my part. I'll be physically present for my child. I have never forgotten. And then the judge said, a judge, let me not say her name. She's a lady. It's a family court, and only your family and the people you have allowed to come. So there was the pastor allowed. There was the school representative, that is me. There was the judge. There was the prosecutor because of what the child had done and had involved the police. And that's why in Matthew 5:25 says, agree with your prosecutor before you go before the judge. That's in Matthew 5:25. Although it was a different case, do not go before the judge until you know your options. So in this court, the teenagers and their parents and whoever is there as a support system, they will have options. And the options will be to pay a fine, to be supervised, or to be placed in juvenile detention. This is how I work. I have worked with the teenagers. So if you have any other question about children, adolescents, and their parents, even the marijuana question, I can have an answer tomorrow. Because right now, there are many states that have legalized marijuana. But I'm going to say this, if you're 18 years and younger, you are not allowed to be smoking marijuana. It's against the law. And in Georgia, it's funny, they had a law that you can grow marijuana, but you cannot possess. But there is such a thing as medicinal marijuana, and that one you need a permit. You have to apply, and your doctor has to authorize, especially in southern states. If somebody is here from Washington State, that's a different state. Please go back home and check the information with your state and your zip code. So if you live in the state of Georgia, we are stickler. We stick to the law. We are the one who had tried to put in jail our president-elect. God have mercy for us now. Let's go on. I hand it over to Cam.
Perfect. All right. I think I have a question for Pacifica, Dr. Pacifica, and then Kevin will jump in. I think we'll be wrapping it up in a few minutes here. And then I think I'll ask my question. Kevin will go. And then during open question, I'm going to get it out on YouTube. So are we vulnerable here in mental issue than the way we were in Kenya, in Africa? Or is it because we are informed here? We have doctors like you, we have people like Kevin, so that we can diagnose quickly. Because I feel like we're able to get help here. We're able to run to you. In Kenya, in Africa, we have those things going on. We can't sleep well. We are not able to access those. Is it easy access here? Less access there? Thank you. And then Kevin will jump in. Thank you. Dr. Pacifica, that's your question. Or anyone. Yes.
Yeah, I would say there's really plenty of access here in the state. What's needed is more education for people to, back when I was growing up, at least I knew that mental health was something that was really not discussed. And even if it was discussed, or people, were depressed, you are told to just pull up your socks and keep on going.
Mm.
But now there's more resources. I would say, even back home, I'm not sure how much resources we have, but I know here in the States there's a lot of access. It's only us to come out of our shell and seek help, because we don't want to live that with the stigmatization that, I need to, what people are going to think about me coming out that I'm depressed. So, it's like, don't worry about what people think about you. It's you and your happiness, because when you go to your house, it's only you who is depressed.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. All right. Thank you. Kevin, you want to finish your section before we go to everybody?
Oh, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yes, I was saying that the gap, there's a small gap, and I appreciate Dr. Pacifica sharing something that my side that I'm seeing, and just the interaction with the teenagers, and also having a privilege to be able to take care of a group of our population for East Africa in a small clinic that I help. But the key thing here that I was just trying to read about it, and there's a gap from what the parents is thinking they're doing at home. That's from our history and the background and the culture that we have, but also there's a gap. And they also did this study across different populations. It was both Hispanic, African American, Caucasian. But they found out that 3 out of 5 kids that are teenagers, they emotional and social being and social support is not at home. But the parent thinks that, hey, we are doing well. I'm talking to them, I'm connecting with them, but there's a gap. Failure to resolve and take care of this younger generation, especially the social and emotional support, their gaps make them to pick up on something wrong. We're seeing a lot of young people vaping too early. They vape too early, it's causing a lot of heart problems. You find someone in their 20s, but their heart function is like someone in their 80s, just due to their drugs early start. And a lot of anxiety and depression that you start to see very, very, very early. But what can we do as a community as we interact and support and live along and prepare this generation to pick up the baton of their parents, of their caregivers, and move on in life? I think it's really good to help, especially when you have those engagement and discussion and forums like this. One is communication, clarity. Just to try to sit down and spend a few minutes to make sure that you understand clearly what they're asking or they need help with, or what they were just communicating to you. Time. Time is something that's really, really essential. Just to be in front of them and just get to their level, know their condition, and don't stop until someone gets a solution. Uh, don't stop. You might be the parent that you cannot clearly communicate or understand. Get a trustable, reliable source to help you understand this. We bring in different presenters, different professionals on these calls, and even on the conference. We share the information, and we would like you to take that initiative. Don't be stuck at home with an issue and it's pinching you, and you have resources. And if you don't, please reach out to us. We try to direct you. It's really, really good, as I wrap it up, to really know about your Find Help zip code. It's a small but very helpful thing that you can use. It's called Find Help, and you can go in and search but your zip code was available for you. From your local church, your local counselor. Some of our presenters are registered there. I really, really recommend our presenters be registered there. If you want someone that identifies with your culture and background, you can find. But the key thing is with these teenagers and their population, love on them. Share your stories, your failures. We want to know about those. How did you overcome? It's not all picture perfect. We want to know the missteps too. So when they fall, they know they can get back up. And it's okay not to be okay, but don't stay in that state. Thank you much, everybody. And tomorrow is gonna be epic. Back to you. Come now. Thank you.
Appreciate you very much. So I'm gonna log out from YouTube so we can have a free-for-all questions for the next 10 minutes. And then there's a question for you, Kevin. Contact, are you a doctor? Somebody has a question for you as I log out on YouTube.